Welcome back, everybody, to another Flashpoint team interview, where today I've got the absolute pleasure of chatting to the one and only Toby from Big. First of all, fantastic to have you guys here, obviously making your first appearance at a Flashpoint season. So could you tell me how the team are feeling to be competing at Flashpoint?
Yeah, we are looking forward to the tournament. Nice to play this tournament, and we feel great. We had some off days, I would say, yeah, just because the next tournament phase will be really exhausting, and we feel fresh and rested. Yeah, we are looking forward to the
That's good
tournament.
to hear. How have you guys kind of been taking that time to, chill out a bit while still obviously, preparing and stuff? We know that Big are a team that love to be preparing for their matches. So what's the balance been like for you guys recently?
Yeah, of course. When I talk about off days, the players still play FPL and they will do whatever they want, yeah, but they enjoy themselves more, yeah, like because practice and preparation is always like after a time it's getting really exhausting. So they just played more of like to have some fun and to focus on having fun. While I also took 1 or 2 days off, and of course at one point we started to prepare again. And today we had a nice break day as well. We just practiced the maps that we can expect in the next days. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, before we talk more specifically about obviously your journey here at Flashpoint, I kind of want to ask you about the team's development over the course of this year, because obviously we've seen you guys, making the best out of this era that we're currently in, managing to make it all the way to the top one in the world when you were starting off, I believe, what was it, 42nd, 38th or something in the world at the beginning of the year. So incredibly impressive stuff from you guys. So what was that trajectory kind of like for you? What were you focusing on as a team that allowed you, to be really, really climbing up the rankings together?
Yeah, that was not one thing, obviously. There was like we just from the beginning said it's a process, and we don't give up. Of course, yeah, we will always just work, and it doesn't matter if we win or lose. We also didn't remove thoughts about what we deserve or where we should be or something. We just just worked hard, and when we lost, like we just took the losses. We never started hating ourselves for losses because we worked so hard, yeah, and that we just had a really good positive mindset and just went from tournament to tournament. Doesn't matter if we win or lose. We just saw all, like we try to think positive, always try to see our improvements, what we did better, yeah. And lately as well, of course, even if you, like after what you mentioned, after we got top 1, of course we dropped again a bit, yeah, and then at one point it feels like you're losing always against the same opponents. Sometimes then feels like losing, but in the end, it's just what you said, we achieved already a lot, and it's just a process, yeah. Now we have to take the next step, and we are still kind of like consistent, even if we are not, of course, consistent top 1, but we didn't drop out of the top 10 or still at a certain level. And as well, it was really exhausting, of course, like this whole process. And in the end now, yeah, we just, I think, thinking positive, not giving up, and also to know that sometimes less is more. Yeah, that's what brought us there.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to touch on, from your perspective, as the coach of Big, how you're focusing right now on achieving that consistency as a team. As you said, it's not always aiming to be top 1 in the world, but how are you making sure that, you feel like the team are being consistent? Is there anything that you're particularly focusing on as a team for that?
Yeah, like this so much also like outside of the game, of course. Sleep rhythm, nutrition, whatever, like preparation, how to begin the day. Like there's so much stuff when to like your mindset and many things. Yeah, of course, outside of the game, and we also try to. It's hard. Like, or a big point is maintenance. I would call it maintenance of the game plan, if you can call it like that. Yeah, it's really hard to. Or this is a big point for us to always keep the things together. Yeah, we have so much tactics on every map, and always to remind and like yourself what you what the bread and, do you call it bread and butter?
Yes.
In Germany you
Yeah,
call it like
yeah.
that, yeah, what's the bread and butter on the map, yeah, because sometimes we are really creative, yeah, we can instantly bring up some new rounds, we can invent in some hours basically some many new rounds, and then we add them, and then in the end, it happens to us that we don't know why we play this map like this now, and we have to go back or also watch old demos, and that's a big process for us of being consistent, yeah. Because if we can always remind ourselves, what's the most important thing on these maps. Like our balance sometimes gets lost, and that's what we are focusing on right now, and that really helps us as well, yeah, to know exactly what we have to do. Of course, mixing up some new rounds, but it's more important that we do that what we always do, and do that right, yeah, do that correct, and not invent the wheel every time new, yeah, or invent the wheel,
yeah. No, that totally makes sense. And as we can see, obviously, from your current background, you aren't currently in the bootcamp facility with some of the other big players. So I was just wondering, from your perspective, how has that kind of has it impacted you as a coach in any way, or are there any particular things that you're doing with the team to make sure that you're still kind of progressing as a unit and it isn't hindering you not being physically there with the players?
Of course, I try to also be sometimes like that. We use Discord or something, yeah, like we do now. Sometimes when I have something really important to talk about, I definitely do it with camera. I share my screen often, or we share our screens often, yeah, and I prepare a lot of stuff like that I have good presentations, and I just present them on my screen, for example. Yeah, we use a lot of analysis tools, and like over the years, I found good ways to do that as well online. Before in Sprout, for example, we were never, like, sometimes we were in a boot camp, but we always did this online or often, and I have to say I'm just used to it. So of course it's a big advantage if I'm there, especially in a tournament, like during the tournaments, after even in between the maps. Of course, if we lost a map, to build people up or like to get some positive mood still, this is much harder, for example. Of course, if I'm at home, they leave, they go out, yeah, take a break for 5 minutes, and I'm not there, I cannot talk to them, yeah? And then they come back, then we talk about the next map. So this is definitely much harder, but I would say the preparation and the practice routine, it's still really on a really high level, and yeah.
Yeah, can you talk to me just specifically about that practice routine that you have at the moment? Obviously, you mentioned earlier that the players have been having some off days recently, which is obviously a very good thing. But in terms of when you guys are on the server, you're in Discord together, do you have kind of a strict regime that you're following? How is it working for the team at the moment?
It depends, of course. It's also how we feel. Yeah, if I feel the people, again, like if we are exhausted or something, then we just do different, like we have, I would say, different prac days. Yeah, sometimes we just prac 3 pracs, but we have a big focus, like really on improving. Yeah, we meet before, and then we just try to improve. On other days we play more. We just play 5 pracs, just to play every map again, like that we don't get out of that we just keep the routine, yeah. But it really depends. It also depends on the maps and what's going on, yeah. Sometimes we have focus days on one map if we think this map has to, on specifically, we have to talk about something. We have much more theory before, and then practice only this map. It's really we still make the plan in the beginning of the week, for example, but it can be completely different. And sometimes there are some complete, some days we don't even play. Maybe I just show some communication out of a game or something, and we focus on that, yeah. And this is really, you cannot say that's always the same, yeah. We try to improve what has to be improved, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. And I also wanted to just touch upon another sort of signing that we've seen to the team recently, obviously assistant coach in Dude as well. So how's he helping you? How is that kind of working with you obviously being the main coach of the team? How or what is he helping you with in the team?
He helps basically with everything. In the beginning, of course, he just he was there and tried to listen, tried to know how he can help us. But I think he's a great analyst as well, yeah. So he helps me definitely, and Tabson to analyze the games, yeah. In the beginning, everyone has his own style. After a while, he knew, or now he knows exactly on what map what infos we need for us, for example, and he's doing a pretty good, really good job. Yeah, this is definitely, he helps us with that, and as well overall, like things that I always want to do but I don't have time for that. For example, analyzing how often do we lose anti-ecos and on what map, for example, and making really statistics, that we can directly point it out. Okay, we have to improve that. Like where we often have a feeling, okay, this is not so good, we should improve it, but he can bring up the numbers, and he spends a lot of time on that, and he helps us with that, but with everything, he's a really nice guy. I met him also like some weeks ago. We were in the house all together, and I had a lot of talks with him, and also attitude-wise, like with routine and about all these topics. Like we are on the same page, and he tries to help with everything. Mm-hmm.
And obviously moving on to Flashpoint, your first game, it's going to be up against none other than MIBR, who are, I would say, a massive question mark coming into this, because obviously they've got their new roster coming together. They actually, impressed a lot of people with their performance at Blast. So how are you approaching that from a coach's perspective? There's not really too much evidence to go off with them. How are you feeling about them as an opponent?
We really treat every opponent like the same. Like we will do the same analysis. We will go through the maps, and there's no specific thing about them. Yeah, I saw their performance definitely. Like it was really good for sure. But we will just see how they play, make some adjustments, and play like we don't try to treat them differently than if they were Astralis or someone, or like or we will never let them in our heads and say, oh, they played really good lately. So we will see how they play. I'm also like, we watched already some stuff, but we will see.
Yeah, just from watching some of their matches, is there anything that you've noticed about them as a team? Any kind of tendencies they have? Anything you might be looking to exploit against them when you face them?
Yeah, of course we have that, but I don't want to talk about it in
That's
detail.
fine.
You will always have that. Yeah, okay. You will always, but it's also, you will always have that again. Like with every opponent, you will have some tendencies. Yeah, but sometimes it's also more important to focus on your own strength. I mean, we are a really strong team. We have a lot of, like what I just said, we have so much stuff. If you just keep our things together and just play our game and remind ourselves on how to play, how we have to play, then we have many answers. Like if I watch sometimes some demos and I present make an analysis and present it, then after the analysis, even in the analysis, when I do it, I think, how would we play against these rounds if we don't know them, basically? And then our fundamentals are usually so solid, that we have the answers in the rounds already. Yeah, okay, they do that, we would do that. Okay, so sometimes I'm thinking, I try as well not to mention everything, because it's too much stuff. Anyways, if you would have the answer in game as well, you don't need to talk about it before. And that's how I think about some opponents as well. Yeah, so if I see they play really good and really default, then we don't go into detail, because we talked about the answers as well.
Yeah, no, that's
already really often.
Yeah, that totally makes sense. And then in regards to the rest of your group, obviously you've got forZe and you've got Envy on the other side of the bracket at the moment. They'll be facing up against one another as their initial matchups. I want to get your thoughts on Envy first of all, because obviously we see Legia, a former member of Big, coming back. He's now taken on their in-game leader role, being a player in the squad rather than a coach. So how are you viewing them at the moment? Because again, we haven't seen anything with Thomas and Legia entering again into the server for them. So how are you viewing them as competition here?
We actually practiced against them sometimes already. So I think, at least I can say, they definitely have some, like, they are creative. They're creative. They have some stuff that was really interesting as well. Like when we played against them, I think they made some thoughts about the game. and I think they play well. Yeah, I always, of course, if we break against them, there's also Calix is also a good friend of Santares, so it's a special thing to as well practice against them. Of course, Nico, we know Nico, and then those guys know each other really well. Yeah. So it's was fun always to practice against them, but I think they can do really well, yeah. Like if they feels like.
And then obviously wrapping up your group as well, we've also got forZe on the other side of the bracket. So how are you feeling about them as competition as well, considering that they qualified for this through the Pinnacle Cup?
Yeah, we also have like we have definitely a big history with forZe as well. Also like Kaito, Suyoson, and me with Sprout. Even we played against them in some finals and stuff. We know each other, or we know the people and the style how they play. Of course, they changed over time a bit, but it's like you said, it's a really aggressive play style. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to play against them, but it's always also a match where we have to be on point, of course. Yeah, communication has to be on point, and but I'm looking forward to play against them. Yeah.
And then lastly, I want to know your kind of thoughts of yourself as a team in comparison to some of the other competition. How confident are you feeling coming into this? And are there any particular rivals for you here at Flashpoint 2?
I think it was really important that we, like, I saw the energy today, and I saw the energy as well of Tapsen, and the energy level is really high, yeah, compared to the weeks before, and was really good that we, I think we can show up much better even than the last tournaments for sure, yeah, and I think there is no specific rivalry going on. Yeah, there are some teams that we lost now, but there's not every game against these top teams is really like it's a special game, yeah, and of course we want to win them, but I would say there's nothing different, yeah.
Well, thank you, Toby, so much for taking the time to chat with me. Cannot wait to see Big making their debut here at Flashpoint 2, and best of luck for your matches going forward.
Yeah, thank you very much.